The great chamber of the Galactic Council was filled with light and sound. Thousands of alien voices echoed across the hall, each one calling for the same thing. They wanted Earth to surrender. They wanted humanity to kneel before the might of the galaxy. For centuries, the Galactic Council believed they were the true rulers of the stars. They controlled trade, they controlled war, and they decided which species lived in peace and which were crushed under the weight of their power. To them, humanity was only a young race, too bold, too reckless, too dangerous. The humans had spread too fast. They had colonized their moon, they had reached Mars, and they had sent their signals across the galaxy. Their technology grew quicker than anyone expected. Their numbers increased, and their spirit never seemed to break. The council felt fear, and fear turned into anger. One by one, alien leaders stood up and shouted, "Earth must be stopped. Humans must surrender. If they do not kneel, they will be destroyed." At the center of the chamber, a massive holoscreen came to life. It showed Earth, blue and green, fragile and small compared to the countless worlds of the Council. A messenger was chosen. He was tall, thin, with silver skin and golden eyes. His name was Shirath, and he was known for his cold heart. Shirath spoke with pride as the Council watched. His voice was like steel. "Humans of Earth, you stand before the power of the galaxy. You are but children, and yet you dare to rise as if you are equals to us. This arrogance cannot be allowed. Surrender your weapons, surrender your fleets, surrender your planet. If you obey, you will be allowed to live under our rule. If you resist, you will be erased from the stars." The words traveled across the void, carried by signals and beams of light until they reached Earth. For hours, the world waited. Every screen, every broadcast, every channel showed the same thing. Shirath's face and his threat. Billions of humans watched, holding their breath. At last the reply came. The image of Earth's representative appeared. It was a woman dressed in simple black. Her eyes were calm, her lips pressed into a line that carried no fear. Behind her, the flag of Earth stood tall. The Council expected screams. They expected begging. They expected humanity to fall to its knees, but instead the woman only smiled. It was not a warm smile. It was not a gentle smile. It was cold, silent, and full of something the Council could not understand. The chamber of the Council went quiet. Every alien froze. They looked at each other in confusion. This was not fear. This was not surrender. This was something far more dangerous. One old alien general stood. His skin was dark green and his eyes burned with experience. He whispered, "I have seen this before, long ago, on a battlefield where humans were outnumbered. They smiled like this before they struck." But his warning was ignored. The younger members of the Council laughed. They thought it was a trick. They thought humanity had nothing left. Still, the image of that human smile burned in their minds. Silent, calm, unbroken. Shirath shouted again, "Is this your answer, humans? Do you mock the Council with silence?" The woman did not speak. She only kept smiling. And then, with a motion of her hand, the screen went black. The Council chamber erupted in chaos. Voices screamed. Some demanded war, some demanded patience, some believed the humans had gone mad. Others feared the meaning behind that smile. Across Earth, the people did not panic. Instead, they stood taller. They whispered to each other, "We will not kneel. We will not surrender. We are humanity." The silent smile had spoken louder than any words could. It was a promise, a warning, and a declarate. Ion that shook the galaxy. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council felt doubt, and doubt in their world was poison. The fate of Earth was no longer in question. The real question was simple. What secret gave humans the courage to smile in the face of destruction? The answer, hidden deep within Earth, was waiting, and the galaxy had no idea what storm was about to come. The human smile spread across the galaxy like a spark in dry grass. Some laughed at it, some dismissed it, but a few, the ones who had fought humans before, felt fear crawl inside their hearts. They knew that smile was not born from madness. It was born from confidence. On Earth, the world moved in silence. Governments spoke softly. Armies moved quietly. Scientists worked without rest. Humanity did not make speeches. Humanity did not send messages. Instead, humanity prepared. Deep under the oceans, metal giants waited. Submarines larger than cities held within them weapons that no alien eye had ever seen. On the far side of the moon, hidden bases glowed with blue light. Human warships rested in silence, cloaked and shielded. They waited like hunters in tall grass, unseen but ready. Across the deserts, mountains, and frozen poles of Earth, strange machines awoke. They were old projects, abandoned in official records, but never truly gone. Engineers whispered the name in secret, Project Silent Dawn. The plan had been in motion for years. The council thought humans were reckless, but in truth, humans were patient. Every smile, every handshake, every peace treaty had bought them time to build, time to hide, time to sharpen their claws. Inside a dark bunker, the human leaders gathered. There was no panic in their eyes, only fire. A general placed a hand on the table and said, "They think we are weak. They think we will bow. They are wrong." Another voice followed. "Let them come. Let them see what we have prepared." Above Earth, satellites turned their eyes toward the stars. Every movement of the Galactic counts. The fleet was tracked. Every signal was recorded. The humans knew the aliens were coming. The question was not if, but when. In the council chamber, voices clashed. Some shouted to launch the attack immediately. Others warned that humanity might have hidden strength, but arrogance blinded them. The council had crushed hundreds of species before. Why should humans be different? Yet there were whispers. An old commander with scars across his chest said quietly, "Humans are not like others. They fight not only with weapons, they fight with spirit, and spirit is harder to kill than flesh." But the council ignored him. Orders were given. A fleet of 500 ships would leave for Earth. They would circle the planet. They would fire if humanity resisted. The council expected fear, but they would soon learn what silence meant. On Earth, a child in a ruined city looked up at the sky. He saw the stars and asked his mother, "Will they take us away?" The mother only smiled, the same cold smile the leaders had shown. She whispered, "No, my son, they will try, but they will fail." In the factories, hammers struck steel, engines roared to life. Young men and women joined the defense, not with tears, but with pride. They knew they were standing at the edge of history. If they fell, humanity would be ashes. But if they rose, humanity would become fire. Ships hidden under oceans slowly began to rise, not to the surface, but to readiness. Weapons were tested in silence. Engines purred like sleeping beasts. The soldiers inside those steel monsters sharpened their blades, polished their rifles, and waited. The silent smile had become more than a message. It had become a shield, and behind that shield, humanity was building a sword. Far in the void, the alien fleet was already on its way. 500 ships with weapons that had shattered worlds. 500 ships carrying the prey. Of the council, they believed the battle would end in hours. They believed Earth would kneel before the day was over. But in the shadows of space, hidden eyes watched. Human scouts followed the fleet, recording every move. Every detail was sent back to Earth. Every weakness was written down. In the bunker, the general spoke again. His voice was calm. "They are coming." Another leader asked, "Are we ready?" The general looked at the screen, saw the map of hidden fleets, the glowing lines of Project Silent Dawn, and answered with the same silent smile. The countdown to war had begun. The galaxy thought humanity was quiet because they were afraid, but the truth was darker. Humanity was quiet because they were ready. The storm was coming, and Earth was the eye of that storm. The fleet was already on its way to Earth, 500 ships carrying fire and arrogance. But before the first shot was fired, the Galactic Council gathered once more. The chamber was restless. Shadows of fear moved across the tall walls, yet pride still filled the air. One alien leader, with blue skin and horns of glass, slammed his fist against the table. "Humans are weak. We will break them in hours." Another, with wings folded across her back, hissed, "Do not underestimate them. That smile haunts me still." Laughter spread through the chamber. Some mocked the warning, some ignored it. To most of the council, humanity was only noise, a young species making too much sound. But there were a few who remembered history, and history whispered danger. A veteran general rose slowly. His armor was scarred from battles older than most of the council itself. His eyes glowed like embers. His voice was low but steady. I fought against humans once, when their ships were still fragile and their weapons crude. I saw them outnumbered 10-1, and I saw them smile. The chamber fell silent for a moment. The younger members leaned forward, curious. "And what happened?" one asked. The general's gaze grew dark. "They didn't surrender. They did not run. They waited, and when the time was right, they struck. They burned my fleet to ash. That smile you saw, it was not defiance, it was a warning." But arrogance is a louder voice than wisdom. Another counselor laughed. "Old stories do not win wars. Their ships are fewer, their weapons weaker. We will erase them. We will remind the stars who rules them." The debate grew fierce. Some argued to destroy Earth quickly. Others said to capture the humans alive and study them. Some demanded patience to see if Earth would finally kneel. But in the end, pride chose the path. The order stood. 500 ships would surround Earth. Meanwhile, far away, hidden transmissions were caught in the council's shadows. Unknown to most of them, humanity was already listening. Human intelligence networks had tapped into their frequencies. Every word of the debate was being recorded. Every boast, every threat, every doubt. In a bunker beneath Earth's soil, the leaders watched the secret feed. The general who had spoken earlier now smiled at the recording. "They still do not understand us," he said. "They think silence is fear. They do not know silence is strength." The aliens believed they held the upper hand, but doubt had already planted seeds inside their council chamber. And seeds of doubt, once planted, grow fast. Back in space, the fleet advanced. Thousands of lights blinking in the dark. Their engines burned like suns. Their weapons gleamed with deadly power. They came to end humanity. But humanity did not tremble. On Earth, Project Silent Dawn neared completion. Warships hidden beneath oceans rose slowly toward the surface, not to be seen yet, but to be ready. Factories ran without sleep. Soldiers prepared without rest. Humanity spoke no words, but every movement shouted one message. "We are waiting." The council general who had warned them sat alone. In his quarters, he looked out at the stars and whispered, "They are smiling even now, and none of you understand why." His hand shook as he reached for a memory crystal. In it was the image of humans long ago, smiling before they struck his fleet, the same smile that now echoed across the galaxy. He knew the truth. But he also knew no one would listen. The debate had ended, the orders were final, the attack would come. But what the council did not know was simple. They were not hunters. They were prey walking into the lion's den, and the lion was already awake. The galaxy waited, breathless, silent. The council thought they had cornered humanity. But in truth, humanity had cornered them. The smile of Earth was not weakness. It was a blade hidden behind calm lips, and soon that blade would strike. The alien fleet entered Earth's orbit like a storm of fire. 500 ships of steel and plasma. Their shadows covered the planet. Their weapons gleamed with the promise of death. From the surface, humanity looked up and saw the stars vanish behind the dark shapes of the enemy. The Galactic Council believed the battle was already won. On their command bridge, commanders laughed. "They are silent because they are broken," one said. Another added, "Their smile will vanish when the first shot is fired." But Earth did not tremble. Cities carried on with calm faces. Families looked to the sky. Some whispered prayers. Some clenched their fists. And yet, not one knee bent. Not one voice cried surrender. From hidden command centers deep beneath the ground, generals watched the alien fleet circle above. Screens glowed with red dots marking every enemy vessel. Quiet voices passed orders. Calm hands pressed buttons. Humanity waited for the right moment. In the Council flagship, Commander Valar gave the order, "Charge weapons." Blue light began to gather across 500 ships. The energy burned brighter than suns, aimed directly at Earth. With one command, the planet could be reduced to a she, and still Earth remained silent. Then it happened. The ocean split apart. From the black depths, shadows rose. Vast warships, larger than anything the aliens had ever seen, burst from the water. Their hulls were dark, their engines glowing red. They were ghosts of steel, hidden for years, waiting for this very moment. On the dark side of the moon, the ground cracked open. Hidden hangars released squadrons of fighters, sleek and sharp like blades of light. They darted into space with deadly precision. The Council fleet froze. Shock spread across their ranks. Impossible, one commander whispered. How long have they been building these? Human warships moved into formation, silent and calm. They did not fire, not yet. They only advanced, surrounding Earth like guardians made of iron. On the surface of Earth, billions of humans watched. Their silent smile returned, stronger than ever. The Council demanded answers. Transmit message, Commander Valar ordered. The channel opened. His voice thundered. Humans, what is this? You dare defy the Council with hidden toys? The reply came. A human general appeared on the screen. His uniform was plain, his voice calm. His face carried the same cold smile. We are humanity, he said. We do not kneel. We do not surrender. Leave now or stay forever. Before the Council could respond, the sky lit up. Human weapons roared to life. Beams of energy struck across the void. Precise and deadly, alien shields cracked. Alien ships shook. In seconds, the proud fleet that had covered the stars found itself bleeding fire. Panic spread across alien comms. Their weapons, how are they so strong? Our shields are failing. Retreat, no, hold the line. But it was too late. Human ships moved like hunters, striking fast, retreating faster. Every move was calculated, every strike was merciless. On the Council flagship, Commander Valar's face turned pale. He had never seen such coordination. He had never seen prey fight like predators. One alien officer shouted, "They knew we were coming. They were waiting for us." And it was true. Humanity had been patient. Humanity had prepared. For years they hid their strength. For years they sharpened their blade. And now, with a single move, they had cut the pride of the Council. The galaxy watched. Transmissions of the battle spread across every world. Species long oppressed by the Council saw humans fighting and whispered, "Maybe they can win." On Earth, the people stood united. Their silent smile was no longer just defiance. It was victory's shadow, waiting to be born. The Council ships burned. One by one, their lights went dark. Some tried to escape, but human fighters hunted them down like wolves chasing prey. Commander Valar gritted his teeth. He realized the truth too late. The humans had never been silent out of fear. They had been silent because they knew this moment would come, and this was only the beginning. Above Earth, the first battle of a greater war had started, and with it, the galaxy would never be the same again. The battlefield above Earth burned like a second sun. Wreckage of alien ships drifted in silence. Fire and metal scattered across the void. The proud fleet of the Galactic Council was breaking piece by piece. For the first time in centuries, the Council felt true fear. Their ships had crushed countless empires before, but never had they been struck with such precision. Never had their shields fallen so fast. Never had their pride been wounded so deeply. On the command bridge of the flagship, Commander Valar shouted, "Hold the line, fire everything!" Plasma bolts lit up the void, but human warships moved like ghosts. Each alien shot missed or struck nothing but empty space, and every counterattack from Earth hit its mark. The humans had been silent for so long, but now their silence broke. A transmission cut into every alien channel. The screen flickered, and there stood a human general, his uniform simple, his expression calm, his eyes burned with a fire no alien could understand. He spoke slowly, his voice steady. "We do not kneel. We do not surrender. We are humanity." The words echoed across the void. Aliens on the bridge froze. Soldiers in their stations held their breath. The galaxy listened. And for the first time they heard not just defiance but destiny. The general raised a hand. Behind him, Earth's flag waved in the command chamber. He continued, "For centuries you believed you ruled the stars. For centuries you believed others would bow. But your mistake was simple. You thought we were like the rest. You thought we would break. You were wrong." Silence followed his words. Then the human fleet roared to life again, weapons unleashed in perfect rhythm. Alien ships fell one after another, each explosion a message, each burning wreck a warning. On alien worlds far away, citizens watched the transmissions in disbelief. They had been told humanity was weak. They had been told Earth was nothing. Yet here, before their very eyes, humans were standing against the might of the galaxy and winning. Some whispered, Maybe they are the ones who will free us. Others trembled. If they can destroy the council fleet, what will they do next? The council itself was in chaos. In the grand chamber, voices screamed. Some demanded reinforcements, some demanded retreat, but none had answers. None could explain how one small world was tearing apart their greatest fleet back on Earth. The people heard the general's words, and their hearts burned with pride. In villages, in cities, in shelters, people looked up to the sky and whispered the same phrase, "We do not kneel, we do not surrender." The human smile was no longer silent. It had become a roar. On the flagship, Commander Valar gripped the rail. His hands shook. He stared at the human general's face on the ski. "Reen, this is not possible," he muttered. "No species can resist the council like this." But deep in his heart, he already knew the truth. Humanity was not like the others. Humanity was something new. The battle raged on, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. Alien ships broke formation. Some tried to flee, some begged for orders. But no orders came. The humans struck without mercy. Silent dawn had become a storm. When the last alien cruiser fell, Earth's general spoke again. His voice was colder than before. "This is our answer. Tell your council. If they want our surrender, they must come and take it themselves. And when they come, they will never return." The transmission ended. The galaxy held its breath. For the first time in living memory, the council's will had been defied. For the first time, their fleet had been destroyed. And for the first time, a new power had risen. Earth stood unbroken. Humanity's voice had spoken, and the stars would never forget those words. The ruins of the council fleet still burned in Earth's orbit. Wreckage floated in silence, a graveyard of arrogance. Across the galaxy, the shock spread like fire. Whole empires stared at the transmissions and whispered in disbelief. The council, the eternal masters of the stars, had been defeated by a single world, but Earth was not finished. The destruction of the fleet was not the end. It was only the beginning. In the bunkers beneath the surface, generals gathered around glowing maps. Red dots of enemy strongholds stretched across the stars. Silent dawn had waited too long in shadows. Now it was time to rise. The order was given. Activate Phase 2. From oceans, more ships emerged. Titans of steel, black as night. From the poles, hidden silos opened, unleashing weapons built in silence. On the far side of the moon, entire armadas roared to life, engines burning with fury, and then, with a single command, they vanished. Human ships folded space. They leapt into the void, no longer bound to Earth. Humanity was coming to two. Galaxy. The first strike fell on a council outpost near a dying sun. The aliens stationed there expected silence. Instead, the darkness split apart as human warships appeared, weapons fired before alarms could even sound. In minutes, the outpost was gone, its signal cut off forever. More attacks followed. Silent dawn swept across the stars like a shadowed flame. Council patrols vanished. Convoys never reached their ports. Colonies once loyal to the council went dark. Every time survivors tried to speak, their voices trembled with the same words. The humans came, they smiled, and then everything ended. The council panicked. Their chambers shook with screams. How many ships do they have? How did we not see this coming? Where are they building these fleets? No one had answers. Humanity had been underestimated. Humanity had been dismissed. And now, humanity was everywhere. Alien worlds once proud of their council masters now whispered rebellion. If the humans could defeat them, maybe they too could be free. The smile of Earth had become a banner of resistance, spreading far beyond what the council could control. The veteran general, the one who had warned them before, stood once more. His voice was iron. This is not war. This is judgment. The humans are not fighting for survival anymore. They are teaching us a lesson. But his warning fell on deaf ears again. Fear drowned reason, and panic drove their orders. Back on Earth, the people watched the stars with new hope. Every returning transmission brought news of victory. Every strike showed humanity's strength, mothers told their children. The galaxy thought we were weak, but now they know who we are. Soldiers whispered in silence. We do not kneel. We do not surrender. On one distant world, a council governor stood at his palace. He watched human ships descend through the clouds. His guards trembled. His people hid. And then, with one strike, the palace was gone. Human soldiers stood in the ruins, their faces calm, their smiles cold. No speeches were made, no mercy was offered. Humanity's silence was more terrifying than any threat. Across the galaxy, the message was clear. The Council's reign was ending. The humans had risen, not as prey, but as predators. Their silence had become the sound of doom. Commander Valar, once proud, now sat in the dark of his shattered flagship. He whispered to himself, "We thought they were children. We thought they were fragile. But we have awakened something ancient, something unbreakable." Project Silent Dawn was no longer a secret. It was a storm, and that storm was only growing stronger. The galaxy trembled, and still, Earth smiled. The Galactic Council chamber was no longer filled with pride. It was filled with fear. The great hall that once echoed with voices of power now trembled with whispers of defeat. Alien leaders who had once laughed at Earth now argued in panic. Reports of destruction poured in. Outposts gone, fleets missing, colonies silent. Project Silent Dawn was tearing the galaxy apart piece by piece. Every attempt to strike back had failed. Every trap had been turned against them. Humanity was no longer defending. Humanity was conquering. One counselor shouted, "This cannot continue. We must send every fleet, every weapon." Another hissed, "We already tried, and still they rise." The chamber was chaos, but beneath the noise, silence waited, and then the silence broke. The doors of the council chamber opened, slowly, calmly. Footsteps echoed. All voices fell quiet. Eyes turned to the entrance. A figure walked forward, human, dressed not in gold or jewels, but in black, simple and sharp. Behind him stood two armored guards of Earth, their faces hidden, their movements precise. The aliens froze. Never before had a human entered the sacred hall. Never before had the council been forced to look into the eyes of the species they had ordered to. Surrender. The human representative stopped at the center. He looked around, his face calm, his lips curved into that same cold smile. The smile that had haunted them since the first demand. No one spoke, no one moved. The silence grew heavy, and then the human spoke. His voice was quiet, but it struck like thunder. "You demanded our surrender," he said. "You threatened us with destruction. You thought we would kneel, you thought we would beg." He raised his head higher, his eyes burning. "We do not kneel. We do not surrender. We are humanity." The chamber shook with his words. Some counselors bowed their heads, unable to meet his gaze. Others clenched their fists in anger, but dared not speak. The human stepped closer, his voice colder now. "You asked for war. You received judgment. Your fleets are ashes. Your power is broken. Your throne of stars is gone." He lifted his hand. A small hologram flickered to life. It showed dozens of alien fleets, burning, shattered, silent. "This is the cost of your arrogance," he said. "This is the price of underestimating us." A trembling voice rose from the council. "What do you want from us?" The human smile widened, not with kindness but with promise. "We want nothing. We take nothing. But remember this. You will never command us again. You will never own our skies. If you try, your end will be swifter than your beginning." The silence returned, heavier than before. The weight of his words pressed down on every alien in the chamber. They understood. Humanity was not another subject of the council. Humanity was the storm that had ended the age of arrogance. Slowly, the human turned to leave. His guards followed. The doors closed behind him. The echo of his words lingered. In the streets of alien worlds, whispers spread. The humans stood before the council. The humans spoke without fear. The humans smiled. The gal. Axie understood the council's rule had ended. A new power had risen. And that power carried no crown, no chains, only a cold smile and an unbroken will. Commander Valar, watching from a ruined station far away, closed his eyes and whispered the truth the galaxy now knew. The age of the council is over. The age of humanity has begun. And so, the story of the silent smile ended, but its echo would never fade. Across the stars, every world remembered the moment Earth stood against the galaxy and won.